You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 292 of the Rusted Robot Podcast for Sunday, May the 26th, 2020.
My name is Optimus Prime.
Hello, I am C-3PO Human Cyborg Relations.
I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile.
You're like a machine underneath, right? But sort of alive outside?
I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
You're not quite, human, are you?
No, sir. I'm an android.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
Counterfeit, facsimile, replica.
We need some sort of robot. Ah, crap! I'm some sort of robot.
What are your prime directives?
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
By your command.
Hey gang, it's Sean back at you with another exciting episode of the Rusted Robot Podcast, and today the co-host of the week is my son Bishop. How are you, little buddy?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm fantastic. Now, last week we didn't have an episode because it was the May long weekend, and I really didn't feel like it. So this weekend, actually, we're at camp.
Yeah, we're at camp. Been a bit of an adventure getting this internet to record this.
Because of the whole COVID thing, it's been hard to get regular co-hosts and get regular pop culture news. So last week there wasn't a show, which I was very sad about. I thought about doing one because we had some huge news, but we'll talk about that this week. I'm sure you've all heard about it by now, but now it's my turn to talk about it. So what we're doing is we are at camp. It's a new and unusual experience for us. Julie and I just got this campsite this past week. This episode is coming out not Sunday morning like usual. It's going to come out whenever I get around to getting home and uploading it to the internet.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be too much editing because by the time we get back tonight, I won't really feel like it. So I'm going to go ahead and play another promo for a podcast here on the ESO Network.
Hey, weird podcast people! Join us every week on the Flopcast for a half hour or so of silly conversation about comics, music, Saturday morning cartoons, old movies and TV shows, and chickens. It'll be our little secret. Find us at flopcast.net and on the ESO Network.
And wasn't that a great promo, little buddy?
That must have been a pretty great promo.
Aren't you going to go listen to that podcast once you figure out what it is?
Probably.
That's right, because all the podcasts here on the ESO Network are fantastic, are they not?
Yes, they are.
And how many do you listen to? All 20 some of them?
Sure.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, so what we usually do is start off with some witty banter, and we just did that.
Yep.
How are you liking camp so far?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got to drive a four-wheeler?
Got to drive a four-wheeler.
You got to have some s'mores?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we're in Julie's parents' cabin right now recording because this is the best place to get some internet to connect to the articles that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
So the window's open because it's warm today.
Yeah.
And so you may be hearing, dear listeners, four-wheelers or other kinds of noises, birds. I'm hearing somebody screwing something in right now.
Yeah, it's probably like a power drill or something like that.
Yes. So I'm not going to edit any of that out. I'm not going to do very much editing at all other than putting in that promo for the thing and the ends and the beginnings and the things and the stuff.
Yep.
We normally start off a podcast. Now, you haven't been on a podcast here for a while.
No.
So generally the way it starts off with, for the Rusted Robot Podcast, is after a little bit of preamble, we talk about celebrity deaths of the week. And, of course, there's been a few over the last 2-ish weeks.
Yeah.
So just looking through the Facebook page for Rusted Robot.
Yeah, this month has not been a good one.
No, it really hasn't. Because earlier in the month, we lost comedian Jerry Stiller. You probably don't know who that is.
I don't. Sorry to hear that.
He was Ben Stiller's dad. Do you know who Ben Stiller is?
No, but I think I might be wrong about this. But I feel like I remember hearing that name somewhere from one of the Terminator movies.
No.
I might be wrong. Yeah, I'm probably wrong about that.
No, Ben Stiller or Jerry Stiller were not in Terminator.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched Terminator, so...
Okay, so comedy legend Jerry Stiller died at the age of 92. He was famous for playing George Costanza's dad in Seinfeld, and he also lost his wife, Ann Mira, in 2015. According to the article, I'm sad to say that my father passed away from natural causes, Ben said in a tweet. He was a great dad and grandfather and the most dedicated husband to Anne for about 62 years. He concluded, he will be greatly missed. Love you, Dad. So that's a nice little tweet from Ben Stiller about his dad. And Jerry's death came after he suffered a medical scare early last year. He was famous for playing George Costanza's dad in Seinfeld. He married his wife in 1954. And they performed together as Stiller and Mira on sketch shows throughout the 60s, most notably The Ed Sullivan Show. And Jerry later wrote about their partnership and marriage in his autobiography, Married to Laughter. And he experienced a resurgence in fame throughout his recurring role in Seinfeld, as well as the one on The King of Queens. And during his run on Seinfeld, Jerry was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series. He passed away earlier in May.
Did he end up winning an Emmy?
The article didn't say. It's this guy here in the picture. Do you recognize him?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, I'll never mind that then. We also have Fred Willard. Have you ever heard of that guy?
I have not heard of Fred Willard.
Yeah, well, he died at the age of 86. And it says here, this prolific actor had roles in television shows and movies, including Everybody Loves Raymond, Best in Show, Anchorman, and others. His agent confirmed his death to the Hollywood Reporter, and his daughter shared the news of his death on Twitter, and she said that Willard died very peacefully, adding that he kept moving, working, and making us happy until the very end. We loved him so very much. We will miss him forever. And if you want to know more about this guy's life, if you listen to the latest episode of the WTF podcast with Mark Maron, he did an episode with Mark in 2012, and that episode was just reposted this past week, and you'll learn a lot more about his life, and it's quite fascinating. So that was Fred Willard. And even more sad news, actually, was Mark Maron's girlfriend, Lynn Shelton, passed away. Yeah, about a week ago now. Yes, and it was quite sad and tragic, and you can listen to that episode on the WTF podcast as well, or you can listen to my latest episode of the Soul Forge podcast, where I talk about it, because Mark Maron is my favorite podcaster. So that was very sad news, and Mark Maron was quite heartbroken. It was super sad, and you can hear it in his voice, of course, and I play some of his clips with him talking about her passing on my show. And the thing about this here is that the woman who brought me to Timmins 17 long years ago, her name was Lynn Shelton. So when I found out about the actor-director Lynn Shelton, I was like, So I followed her career a little bit, and then when Lynn and Mark got together, it was like, yes, that makes a lot of sense, because he talked about her a lot, and she was a great director. And that's our celebrity deaths of the week, and that was very sad.
Yeah, but before we continue on, I would like to add one. I don't have any information on it right now. But recently, I can't remember recently, it was one of the M months. I think it might have been March.
Okay.
No, it was May. A voice actor for one of the games I play a lot, Team Fortress 2. His name was Rick May.
Rick May?
Yeah, he died to COVID.
Is that right?
Yeah.
This past month?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere in this month or March. Somewhere in between then. Yeah, he was a voice actor for one of the characters.
Which character?
The Soldier class.
And what game is this?
Team Fortress 2.
Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
Well, more sad news.
Yeah, it's a pretty old game.
Was it?
It's still got a lot of players.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let's talk about something fun.
Yeah.
What do you got? What have you been playing on any of the systems that you play?
Well, I recently got back into a game from 2012 that I got for my 3DS.
Which is that?
Which is not Super Paper Mario, though that is a good one. I'm talking about Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Oh, and what's so good about that?
Well, it's not too long of a game, but it can be pretty fun. It can be pretty challenging at times. And there are some interesting mechanics.
What do you have to do in this game?
In this game, you have to find 5 things from different places, and you gotta battle your way with, they're called something stickers, I think action stickers or something like that. And yeah, it's doesn't have too much on the lore side as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But it is a pretty fun game.
And you'd recommend it?
I would recommend it.
And what else have you been up to?
Well...
Since March break has been continuing through April and May, and all the way through until September at least.
Probably.
How are you keeping busy?
Well, aside from being on my computer and taking care of the dog, I don't really know much. I haven't really been doing much.
Oh, well that's boring.
Yeah.
So you've been playing this Paper Mario game?
Yeah, been playing that basically since I got to the camp.
Okay. And earlier in the month, what have you been doing?
Earlier in the month...
Watching anything cool on TV?
Not that I can think of.
Because I've been watching Season 2 of Final Space on Netflix.
Season 2 of Final Space.
And it's pretty good.
Is it pretty good?
Yeah, I think you'd like it. It's a cartoon.
We can watch that sometime then.
Yes, we can.
Add that to the list.
Add it to the list. Battlestar Galactica and The Flash star Katie Sackhoff is joining the cast of the second season of The Mandalorian at the Disney Plus service. Did you watch The Mandalorian?
I did not watch The Mandalorian.
You should watch The Mandalorian. Do you like Star Wars?
Yeah, I kind of like Star Wars.
Kind of, or a lot? A little bit, maybe, kind of?
Somewhere in the middle, yeah.
You can stand it?
Yeah.
Okay. Slash Film reports that Sackhoff will be playing a live-action version of Bo-Katan. I don't know how you say his last name. Kryze. Or Kryze.
Chris?
I'm not sure. Kryze.
Oh, God.
The Mandalorian warrior she previously did voice work for on Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels animated series. Bo-Katan once wielded the Darksaber, the weapon last seen at the end of The Mandalorian Season 1, held by Moff Gideon. Sackhoff reportedly filmed her role back in February before Hollywood production shut down due to the global pandemic.
Yeah, a lot of things have been canceled or rescheduled. This has not been a good year.
No, it hasn't. So that's coming out this fall if everything goes well. It's supposed to come. Season 2 is supposed to arrive in October, I believe.
Hopefully, if it doesn't also get rescheduled or canceled.
That's true. We don't know.
Yeah.
But if you
don't know yet, but hopefully it will be.
If you get a chance to watch Mandalorian, do you have Disney Plus at home?
I do not, but some of the viewers might, so
yes, and it's
something to check out.
Well, anybody listening to this podcast has watched it if they wanted to already, because it came out a few months back.
Yeah.
And it was pretty great. And Katie Sackhoff is awesome. She played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Hi, this is Admiral Adama, Battlestar Galactica, saying you're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
Did I make you watch Battlestar Galactica with me?
You might have. I don't know.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what else we got here for news. Gargoyles creator wants to team with Jordan Peele for a live-action movie of the Gargoyles. Did you watch the Gargoyles cartoon?
I did not watch the Gargoyles cartoon.
Oh, man. What have I done with you? Yeah,
you didn't show me that. I can tell you that much.
Man, oh man!
And we've got a quite an extensive list of things to watch.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
What do you watch? Do you watch anything?
Sometimes.
Like what? What's your favorite stuff to watch?
I don't know. Can't really say.
Oh man. All right. So it says here, should Greg Weisman get his way, he'll be right back at work on Gargoyles with horror mastermind Jordan Peele. Even years after reports surfaced suggesting Peele actually pitched a live-action film to Disney in an attempt to revive the cult classic, fans are still holding out hope for a revival one way or another. In one recent interview, Weisman expressed his desire to team with Peele should the mouse ever decide to bring the franchise back to life. And he says, I think it's accurate that he was interested, but I can't speak to how far those conversations went, the writer said about the possibility of Peele's pitch coming to fruition. My understanding, not inside information, just my understanding, is that he expressed an interest in the property. And Disney didn't say no. But by not saying yes, that answers the question. You know, they didn't want to say no to Jordan Peele, but they also didn't want to say yes to Gargoyles, so it just didn't go anywhere. So, Gargoyles, for your information, is a cartoon. I believe it came out in the late 90s, I think. I watched it all the time. It was awesome. It had a lot of Star Trek voice actors in it.
Oh.
And it was Gargoyles in modern-day New York. They were taken from somewhere far away.
Like those stone ones you'd find on certain buildings?
Exactly. That's what a gargoyle is.
Yeah.
1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. It was a time of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was the age of gargoyles. Stone by day, warriors by night. We were betrayed by the humans we had sworn to protect, frozen in stone by a magic spell for 1,000 years. Now here in Manhattan, the spell is broken, and we live again! We are defenders of the night. We are gargoyles.
Okay, so I pulled it up here on Wikipedia. Gargoyles is an American animated television series produced by Walt Disney Television and distributed by Buena Vista Television and originally aired from October 24th, 1994 to February 15th, 1997. And the series features a species of nocturnal creatures known as gargoyles that turn to stone during the day. There were 3 seasons and 78 episodes. I don't know how many I watched, but I watched quite a few. It was a lot of fun. And I think they were crime fighters, and they worked with a female police officer. And I think Jonathan Frakes, who played Commander William Riker on Star Trek The Next Generation, was the main bad guy. And he was trying to get the gargoyles to work for him or something. I can't really recall.
Like that.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a pretty old show.
That's the 90s, so that's hard to say. That's more than 20 years ago, and I haven't seen it since. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep, but it was a lot of fun, and I recommend it to pretty much anybody.
Anyone who can see it.
That's right. What do you know about the DC TV universe?
DC TV universe.
You know, like Arrow, Flash, the other ones I can't think of right now.
Yeah, I don't really know anything too much about them.
So you haven't watched Supergirl?
Well, my mom does, but I typically don't watch along.
Okay, did you watch Batwoman?
No, I have not.
Well, guess what they're doing? They're recasting Kate Kane. Ruby Rose is exiting the series after only 1 season.
After only 1 season.
And there's quite the controversy about that. If Brother Robin was here, your Uncle Robin, I should say, he would be able to tell you all about it because he was quite upset by the news.
Yeah, seems like that would be something that a lot of controversy would be around.
Correct, sir. You are correct. Now, I only watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I didn't really care for it. All right, now, since you haven't actually watched any of that stuff, and I have gotten way behind on it myself, actually, because there was too much. Just going to read you a little bit of the article here. It says that Ruby Rose exits the CW's Batwoman TV show, with DC planning to recast the role of Kate Kane for Season 2. Rose originally joined the Arrowverse for the Elseworlds crossover in 2018, before the character of Kate Kane was spun off into her own TV show. In Elseworlds, Batwoman's help was sought by Supergirl, played by Melissa Benoist, Green Lantern by Stephen Amell.
Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. I'm hanging with Sean and Bridget right now. They're telling me all about podcasts and general geekery and fun times in Northern Ontario, so keep listening.
And The Flash, who was played by Grant Gustin. The character quickly became a fan favorite, as Rose and Benoist established a fun rapport that was expanded upon in the more recent crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I actually did watch, and it was pretty good. Batwoman premiered at the start of 2019-2020 TV season and just concluded its freshman season this weekend. It set the stage for an exciting Batwoman Season 2, even despite the show having to wrap up a few episodes early. Though Batwoman is already renewed for Season 2, the show is among a full slate of Arrowverse series delayed to January 2021 by the CW.
Wow, that late?
Well, this is the result of production shutdowns on CW television shows to combat the coronavirus pandemic. However, it seems Batwoman will be facing another hurdle going into Season 2. And, of course, that's the recasting.
Yeah.
And Ruby Rose here made a statement, and she said, "I have made the very difficult decision to not return to Batwoman next season. This was not a decision I made lightly, as I have the utmost respect for the cast, crew, and everyone involved with the show in both Vancouver and in Los Angeles. I am beyond appreciative to Greg Berlanti, Sarah Schechter, and Carolyn Dries for not only giving me this incredible opportunity, but for welcoming me into the DC universe they have so beautifully created. Thank you, Peter Roth and Mark Pedowitz, and the teams at Warner Brothers and the CW who put so much into the show and always believed in me. Thank you to everyone who made Season 1 a success. I am truly grateful."
Well, that's a nice last message, even if
it's crap.
Yep.
Now, there's been rumors that it was because she was getting hurt too much playing the role of Batwoman, but there's also rumors or news or whatever, I'm not sure exactly, that she didn't like working long hours.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So she quit.
Huh, well, if you don't like working long hours, you might not be the best idea to be an actor.
You think?
Yeah.
Probably.
Because, multiple recastings, or not recastings, but reshootings of same scenes over and over again.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah, don't be an actor. Especially don't be a director. Because long hours just all around that entire business.
That's right.
Yeah.
And in other casting news, did you watch Game of Thrones?
I have not watched Game of Thrones.
You have not watched one episode of Game of Thrones?
I have not watched a single episode of Game of Thrones.
Oh, man.
Which will probably make someone on this podcast mad.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Game of Thrones stars Jason Momoa. You know who he is?
No.
He played Aquaman.
Oh, he played Aquaman?
Yes.
In Aquaman?
In the Aquaman movie.
Huh.
Yeah, and he also played Ronan in Stargate Atlantis.
Not in the Ronan movie?
No.
Well.
Yeah. And Peter Dinklage. Do you know who he is?
No, but I think he's short.
He's the short guy.
Yeah, he's a short guy.
Yep. He was in that... what the heck am I thinking about? One of the... oh, boy. I'm having a brain fart. Avengers movies.
He's
the guy who created Stormbreaker for Thor. When Thor's hammer was destroyed and he needed a new weapon.
When Mjolnir, or however you pronounce that.
That's right. Mjolnir?
Mjolnir?
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so Jason Momoa and Peter Dinklage are reuniting for a new vampire movie, and hopefully this time they'll actually share the screen, because they didn't share the screen in Game of Thrones, even though they were both in it.
Wow.
Let's see here. It's called Good, Bad, and Undead. The project is in the works at Legendary with Mark Barbacow on board to direct. That's a nice name.
It is.
Barbacow.
Sounds just like a fancier name for a barbecue that exclusively barbecues cows.
Okay, we'll go with that. Reportedly, Momoa and Dinklage are both in talks to star in the upcoming movie, which is being described as Midnight Run in a Bram Stoker world. The two have yet to officially sign on as of now, but given the roles they would play, it sounds like a must-see movie for Game of Thrones fans. Have you ever seen the movie Midnight Run?
I have not.
Oh, man!
There's a lot of stuff we need to watch.
I love that movie. I've seen that movie so many times as a kid, probably when I was about your age.
Oh.
Yes. It had Robert De Niro, and I think it was Steve Guttenberg, and Steve Guttenberg was the character who was a bad guy or something, and Robert De Niro was the bounty hunter, and they went on a midnight run, and they had to get to a certain place by a certain time or something. It's been years since I've seen it.
It's been years since you watched it, but you watched a lot, so you can remember at least some of it.
The other star of Midnight Run is Charles Grodin. That is not the same actor as Steve Guttenberg, although they are interchangeable.
Yep. So if negotiations go well and both actors are cast, Peter Dinklage will be playing a version of Van Helsing, the famous vampire slayer from many depictions of the Dracula story. Starring alongside him would be Momoa as a vampire who partners up with Van Helsing after taking a vow to never kill again. The plot would see Van Helsing and the vampire run a scam from town to town, where Van Helsing pretends to vanquish the vampire for money. But when a massive bounty is put on the vampire's head, everything in this dangerous world full of monsters and magic is now after them. Both actors became household names when they appeared in major roles on the popular HBO series Game of Thrones. That sounds like a movie that I would watch the heck out of. Do you think that would be fun?
Probably Robin, too.
Yes, probably Robin, too. Yes, I bet he would. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Midnight Run in a Bram Stoker world. Sounds excellent. All that preamble to the big news.
The big old big news?
Yes, the big news. The huge news. The news that I've been waiting more than a year to have it confirmed.
And what is this news? What is this news that is so fabulous you've been waiting a year at the very least?
Well, what do you think is my favorite television series?
If I had to guess, and if I only had one guess, it would be Star Trek.
Good guess. Good guess. Well, we finally got the news the Friday before last that the new series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, will be a Star Trek Discovery spin-off. Oh, yes. Last Friday, CBS All Access announced that it has ordered a Star Trek Discovery spin-off titled Star Trek Strange New Worlds. The new series will follow Captain Christopher Pike and the rest of the crew of the USS Enterprise in the decade before the original Star Trek television series. The new series will bring back the cast from the second season of Discovery. Anson Mount will play Captain Pike. He was on Hell on Wheels.
Well,
and that was a fantastic series.
Was that a fantastic series?
Hell on Wheels was about building a railroad across the continental United States in the 1860s.
Wow.
And that makes it sound super boring.
Yeah,
but
that does make it sound pretty boring.
It was fantastic.
It was fantastic?
Oh, yes. There was murder and mayhem and all kinds of stuff in that show.
Were there explosions?
There were explosions.
That sounds like a pretty good movie.
It was a television series.
Oh, television series then.
5 seasons worth.
Should probably make a movie on it too.
Maybe they did. No, they
they might. No,
they didn't.
Well, it might have been. Might be successful.
It could be. But Anson Mount was fantastic. And then we've got Rebecca Romaine, and we know her from playing Mystique in the X-Men films, and also formerly being married to John Stamos, who played Uncle Jesse on Full House. You know Full House.
I know of it, but I haven't watched it.
Okay. And we've got Ethan Peck as Spock.
As Spock?
You know Spock.
I do know Spock.
So, though not the first one, Pike was captain of the famed Enterprise NCC 1701.
NCC 1701. No bloody A, B, C, or D.
Before James T. Kirk took over. And I can't talk today for some reason. Since Captain Pike debuted in Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, fans have been clamoring for a show about the Enterprise captain. They'll now get just that, as Pike's voyages will continue on in the new series. And it was clearly in the works for a while in the video, which I'm going to try to find and post in here later.
Maybe now or now?
No, not now.
Strange. New.
Worlds.
You asked. We listened. It's happening.
Wow, I'm so glad I finally get to share this news with you guys.
Speaking just for myself, I have never received more love from a fan base than I have from the Star Trek family.
Without you, this wouldn't be happening, so thank you so much.
I can't wait to put on that gold Starfleet uniform and deliver number 1 right along Captain Pike and Spock.
It is a huge honor.
And it means even more for us to be able to announce this right now at a time when so much of the planet is hurting.
The ethos of Star Trek is so curious and welcoming and unifying.
And we're going to get to work on a classic Star Trek show that deals with optimism and the future.
Here we go. I can't wait.
And I guess there's only one more thing to say. Hit it.
No, not now? Okay.
Announcing Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Rebecca Romaine sounds exasperated as she tells fans how happy she is that she can finally share the news. In the same video announcement, Ethan Peck tells fans, "You asked and we listened. When we said we heard the fans' outpouring of love for Pike, number 1, and Spock when they boarded Star Trek Discovery last season, we meant it," said showrunner Alex Kurtzman. "These iconic characters have a deep history in Star Trek canon, yet so much of their stories have yet to be told. With Akiva and Henry at the helm, the Enterprise, its crew, and its fans are in for an extraordinary journey to new frontiers in the Star Trek universe." That's the news. Everybody who's listening probably already knows about it.
Yep.
But it's exciting. Now, you may not know this, but in 1965...
I probably don't know this.
Gene Roddenberry, who created Star Trek, filmed The Cage, the first unaired pilot, starring number 1, Spock, and Captain Pike. NBC did not like that episode, so they, in unprecedented for its time, and even now, they said, "We like your idea, but not this episode. Go back and shoot a new thing." So they did, and Star Trek was picked up for 3 seasons, and it's been going for the last 55 years.
So?
It's the longest from pilot to series in history. 55 years in the making.
55 years in the making.
And we finally get it. All new actors, because everybody from The Cage is dead.
No.
I think except for the yeoman. I think she's still alive.
But probably too old to cast. Or...
Yeah. So we don't know when it's coming out, of course.
But we know it exists.
We know it's coming, and I'm super excited. I'm super stoked.
Pretty exciting news.
And it's not going to be serialized. It's going to be episodic, just like the original series, which is what we've been wanting.
For a while now?
Yeah, we don't want a story arc. We want just episode to episode where we can watch them in any order.
Oh.
Of course, there'll be ongoing overall arcs, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But each episode or 2 will be self-contained. And that's the most exciting news I've heard in a long time. Because if there's one thing I love, one thing that makes me cry when I watch it, it's Star Trek.
It's a good Star Trek.
That's right.
It's a good Trek Among the Stars.
You know it.
Yeah.
And now, how much Star Trek have you watched with me?
I don't know how much we've watched, but I can certainly tell you it is not too much.
It's not too much, is it?
No.
That's very sad news.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch Strange New Worlds with me?
We might. We just have to do that.
Because you haven't watched any of Picard with me.
No.
You didn't watch any of Discovery with me.
Nope.
No. Did you watch any of that stuff on your own?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
What am I going to do with you?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to make you watch Strange New Worlds.
At least this.
Because I can't wait.
Yeah.
Last summer, I went to Dragon Con in Atlanta.
In Dragon Con. That's not this shirt.
No.
This is a different shirt.
That's a different shirt.
But I remember you did bring me a shirt.
I did bring you back a souvenir.
I do like that shirt.
Good stuff. I got to see Anson Mount at a panel for Star Trek Discovery. And he was eloquent. And he's a handsome, handsome man.
Is he?
And he plays Pike really, really well. And Rucka Romaine, she does a good job too.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, not Rucka Romaine Lettuce. No. And Ethan Peck, I think he does an okay Spock too. Not too bad.
Not too bad?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Nobody will ever replace Leonard Nimoy.
Thank heaven. Mr. Scott, there was no deity involved. It was my cross-circuiting to be that recovered them. I fail to understand why I should care to induce my mother to purchase falsified patents. Can you give me warp 8?
Aye, sir. And maybe a wee bit more. I'll sit on the warp engines myself and nurse them.
That position, Mr. Scott, would not only be unavailing, but also undignified.
But I don't think anyone can, so...
No one can, so...
Good for the time being.
Good for the time being. So I'm super excited. I can't wait.
He is pretty excited.
You can tell, right?
Yeah.
You can see it in my face?
I can see it in your eyes.
The listeners can't see.
No.
Because this is not a video podcast.
No, this is not a video podcast. This is just a microphone.
That's right.
For all you know, we could be anywhere.
We could be.
We're not everywhere, though.
We're everywhere you want to listen to it, though.
Yeah.
Because we're on Stitcher and Spotify and TuneIn.
And Podbean.
And iTunes and all the things and all the places.
All the things everywhere.
Now, speaking of podcasts, have you ever watched Star Trek Voyager?
I don't believe I have.
I don't believe you have either.
No.
Which is okay. It's my least favorite Star Trek series.
Least favorite in the lineage?
That's right. But recently, Garrett Wang and Robert Duncan McNeil, who played Harry Kim and Tom Paris on Star Trek Voyager, started up their own new podcast called The Delta Flyers.
The Delta Flyers.
You know where they got that name from?
Delta Airlines?
No.
Oh, well, I don't know then.
Well, in one of the episodes, they had to create their own shuttle to go into a gas giant to retrieve a probe, and so they created the Delta Flyer space shuttle, and so they called it the Delta Flyers Podcast, and I've listened to the first 3 episodes.
Not too bad?
Not too bad. I didn't really need to add another Star Trek podcast to my queue, but I gave it a go. And it's not bad. It's pretty good.
This one's probably about as close to an official podcast as you can get.
I don't know if it's official or not, but it's just them talking about each episode in order and their memories of it and how it was filming and doing the things.
So a bit of a behind the scenes.
Kind of a behind the scenes. It's still a little bit shaky. Now, I'm going to just call them Harry and Tom.
Harry and Tom?
Harry and Tom. Harry knows way more than Tom does, but Tom knows about the directing parts of it, and he remembers that kind of stuff, but he doesn't remember too much else.
Yeah.
Because, of course, it started filming I think 25 years ago, came out in 1995.
A while ago.
So he has very vague memories, but Harry has very good memories. They don't do a recap of the show, but they go and talk about it in sequence and little different stories and that kind of thing. So it's I think it's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And
just go check that out.
You should definitely check it out there, listeners. If you love Voyager or just podcasts in general, go check out the Delta Flyers podcast.
I assume you would like both of those things if you're listening to this podcast.
Yes, correct. And speaking of podcasts, there's another one going to be coming to streaming services very soon.
Very soon?
Yes. Guess who the hosts are?
Who are the hosts?
Take a guess.
Is it you?
Well, I'm one of the hosts.
Oh?
Guess who another host is?
Who would that be?
It's Dan.
It's Dan?
Daniel Peter Hitch from the UK.
Hello, I'm Daniel Peter Hitch, author of the Connected Worlds Chronicles and the Bubbles the Pirate children's book series. You're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
From the UK.
And Paul Wright.
From
the UK.
Also from the UK.
The three of us.
Three of you.
We're going to do a podcast. Together. About different things.
Huh.
And it's coming soon.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, we've already recorded the introductions.
And what is this podcast called?
Oh, I don't know if I can give that away yet, because I don't want anybody to steal the name, because I don't know if it's official yet.
It's a secret, because we don't want anyone to steal it.
Yes. Paul, if you're listening, we need to do some trailers, some promos for this podcast.
Yeah. We might be able to put those promos on here.
Well, not on this episode.
Well, not on this episode, but on a different episode.
That's right.
And maybe on the Soul Forge.
What's the Soul Forge?
That's another one of your podcasts.
That's another podcast?
Yeah.
How do you know about that?
Well, I don't listen to it, but I am one of the co-hosts occasionally.
That's true. You have been on the Soul Forge podcast.
I've been on there quite a few times.
And like I mentioned this earlier in this recording, this past week's episode was the tragedy of Mark and Lynn. And it's quite heartfelt. And like I mentioned on that Soul Forge episode 153, I was listening to Mark Maron talk about his lost love. And as I was delivering the mail and listening to the podcast, there were tears streaming down my eyes. It was quite emotional and heartfelt.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I feel really bad for him.
So what episode are you on for the Soul Forge? How many episodes?
153.
153 episodes.
That's the most recent one.
Yeah. Go check that out.
Go check it out. SoulForgePodcast.com. That's right. So that's...
Not two .coms, just one .com.
How many .coms?
Just one.
Just one?
Just one.
So it's not SoulForgePodcast.com.com.
No.
What is it?
It's SoulForgePodcast.com.
Oh, okay. And they should check that out.
Yeah. And when I say dot, I mean like a period, not D-O-T.
Oh, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you...
I'm glad I cleared that up.
Yeah, because that was really confusing.
A word waterfall.
That was a word waterfall. Yes, it was. So that's exciting. I don't think there's anything else to talk about pop culture-wise, unless you have something interesting to bring up.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
You don't,
so, yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for this week in Rusted Robot Headquarter News.
I'm probably going to be shutting it off early.
What do you mean early?
Well, I mean like closing off the podcast early. Because not like an hour long this time.
Well, no, because there's not lots going on because of the COVIDs.
Yeah.
And you aren't really into pop culture.
Not the most into pop culture I can be, no.
There wasn't really much more to talk about.
Yeah.
But appreciate you being here. And thanks all
for having me on.
Oh, anytime. And thanks to all the listeners for coming by and listening and leaving 5-star reviews in the podcast catcher of your choice. And remember, hit it. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rusted Robot Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit therustedrobot.podbean.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Rusted Robot Podcast is your best source for geek-style pop culture news.
I could do this all day.
Captain Pike, I am Commander Saru, acting captain of the USS Discovery. How may we be of service?
Well, Commander, this is awkward, but back in Mojave, I learned the best way to get into a cold stream was to jump right in. I'm here at Starfleet's order to take command of the Discovery under Regulation 19, Section C.
I'm Captain Christopher Pike. Kidding.
Oh my god, if I broke a captain.
I know this is a hard left turn. You're en route to Vulcan to pick up a new captain. I was briefed on the classified details surrounding your last one. I know he betrayed this group.
Sometimes in war, the terrible choice is the only choice.
Giving up our values in the name of security is to lose the battle in advance.
You're Starfleet's captain. You believe in service, sacrifice, compassion, and love.
No.
not going to abandon the things that make me who I am because of the future. It contains an ending I hadn't foreseen for myself.
Captain?
Welcome aboard Discovery, number 1.
Space, the final frontier. These are the continuing voyages of the starship Enterprise. Her ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life forms and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.